Good day, everyone. My name is Anika Wilson, and I am the curator of Women of Impact Conference Series, and I am a leadership and emotional intelligence practitioner. Today, I want to talk to you guys about leadership. You know, leadership is a concept that has been around for many, many years. You know, growing up, we thought about leaders as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, presidents, John F. Kennedy, people that were visible. Visibility is extremely important, but it has nothing to do with the characteristics of an effective leader. When we use terminologies nowadays, especially in the coaching field, it is really easy to get lost in the translation. I want to talk to you guys from experience. One of the reasons why I decided to specialize in leadership is because over the years, I thought that I needed to chase degrees to accomplish my goals. And through the process, I've realized that I have learned many lessons that have enabled me to become the person that I am today. And in becoming the person that I am today, those lessons have taught me the concepts that make up an effective, impactful leader. Now, no matter what stage of life you're in, most of you guys are business owners. It's really, really important for you guys to have those leadership qualities. It may be that you need additional education, certifications, or training, and that's an ongoing process because personal development never stops. Many people think that you reach a peak in life and you no longer need to develop your skills, and that's not true because one of the qualities of an effective leader is evolution. You have to evolve with the times. You have to evolve with your field. And as a business owner, there are new concepts that arise daily that may help us work smarter and not harder, that may help us build, that may help us strengthen. Ultimately, all of these skills are a continual cycle of building upon who you are and the foundation of your morals and values. So again, let's go back. When we think about leadership, what do you think of? For me, I think that leadership, I mentioned visibility, but leadership to me has everything to do with courage. Determining that you are going to be a person that others will follow is a very, very hard choice to make. For some of us, it wasn't necessarily a choice. It may have been a calling. You know, you may have gone through life and you had certain jobs that you didn't mean to be visible. You didn't mean to be in the front lines. You didn't mean to be that person that people were looking to. It just seemed that you wound up in these situations over and over and over again. I think I would call you a leader. You don't have to put a title on your calling. You don't have to put a title on your poise and your grace and your presence. Sometimes it needs to be innate, it needs to be humble, it needs to be built in. So I'm going to talk about concepts that you can use to help you be a better, more effective leader throughout your journey. So I'm going to give you 5 tips and tools, but throughout these 5 tips and tools, you're going to hear a lot more because I like to go down rabbit holes, so just try to follow. Number 1, effective leadership has everything to do with communication. Now, I have a psychology background, and I chose psychology because I love to study how the brain works. It's a very, very ever-changing, muscle. You know, many of us don't realize it's a muscle, but you have to use it, you have to strengthen it, you have to build it continuously. So in thinking about the brain, how it works, you have to also think about how your heart and your brain combine. This helps you to use effective communication styles. Now, part of being an effective leader is that you change the communication styles to your audience or to the person that you're dealing with or to the platform that you're on. You can't use one communication style always. And being an effective leader means that you are able to adapt. So think about your communication. Have you been in relationships, careers, jobs, family disputes? Have you been in situations where your communication may not have been received well? Do you think it's you, or do you think it's the people on the other end? Because this is something that I've had to take the time to develop. In a new marriage, it's really, really hard to understand the person that you're married to, or to understand yourself in that relationship, because the way that you think and the way that you talk may not be effective to the person that's on the other end. With your children, are you saying things over and over again and it's not being received? Are you saying it in a way that you understand, or are you saying it in a way that they understand? In building a business and building a platform and building your brand, it is extremely important that your message is clear. How many times do we hear that through marketing? What's your message? Who is your target audience? This is really, it's key to being effective, because you're going to work really, really hard if your message is not clear and if you're not able to communicate your message to others. So I really want you to sit down and think about your communication style. Think about what it means to you. Think about how you learn, how you adapt, and then think about how your audience learns and how your audience needs to adapt to your materials. If you can determine these things early on, then you will be better off. But it's never too late. If you're at a point where you need to revamp and you need to reconstruct, do that. Don't ever feel that you need permission to change. Part of being a leader is growing. And you may not be the same today as you were yesterday, and that is okay. Stop thinking that you need permission to do the things that work best for you. So take some time to evaluate your communication style, the communication of your message to your audience, and how communication will affect your business overall. Number 2, this concept goes beyond leadership. It goes beyond business. It goes beyond anything that you can ever imagine. But as a leader, people are looking to you. They want to know who you are. They want to know what your specialty is, how you learned what you're saying. Are you really telling the truth? Do you practice what you preach? And in all of these questions, people want to know that they can trust you. Trust is really, really important in any relationship. And business is a relationship. And so you must understand that people need to trust you in order to hire you. Any contract that you get, any clients that you receive, anything that you get in business is built on trust. So, do you trust yourself? Let me say that again. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust the people that you are allowing into your circle? Make sure that trust is built in, because your intellectual properties are important. Your vision is important. Your dreams are important. And it is extremely hard as an entrepreneur to trust others with your vision and your dreams. It will make or break your business, but you have to trust yourself. You have to build your own confidence so that you can build trust and confidence in others. Make sure that in the trusting process that you're using your intuition. Intuition was not on my first 5 list, but apparently it's important. Intuition is a gift. For many of us, we're women, we know that. And whenever we go against our intuition, normally bad things happen. Use your intuition to determine when you can trust yourself and others, and who you should trust in the process. So let's recap. Number 1, communication. Number 2, trust. Y'all following me so far? All right, let's go for number 3. I had to make this a sentence. Influence to promote transformation. As a leader, you have been chosen because you're influential. Something about you draws other people to you. Something about your experiences, something about your personality, something about your look. Realistically, that's what people see first. They see your look first, your branding, your professionalism, your color scheme, your outfits, your attitude. That is what people look to determine if you are influential or not. If you're in business, if you haven't figured out that you are influential, now you know. I woke up one day and realized that I have the ability to influence others' thoughts, others' perspectives of me and themselves. And in that process, you have to take responsibility for that, because ultimately you have control over the lives of others. That is nothing to take lightly. So if you know that you are influential, you must make sure that your influence is positive and authentic. And that leads to the next one, authenticity. I let these words marinate for a minute because we hear them all the time. But when we hear them, are we really taking the time to hone in on the definitions, what they mean? What does authenticity mean to you? For me, I think that authenticity led me into entrepreneurship. When I worked in corporate, when I worked as a social worker, I was in social services for 20 years. I felt that I was never able to be completely transparent. There was always an ethical issue. There was always a rule. There was always limitations that I did not like. And so when I became an entrepreneur, I'm able to be free to be me. And to me, freedom is authenticity. If you are able to be yourself every day of the week, in your house, at work, on camera, that's freedom. Authenticity is true, effective leadership. Now, there are many people in leadership roles, but that does not mean that they're effective leaders. And so make sure that you're taking the time to pay attention to these concepts and that you're doing the work, because authenticity becomes challenging sometimes. As we evolve as women, we often like to wear masks. We love to make people think that everything is okay when it's not. And I'm known to kind of tell the truth. I'm always saying what's on my mind. If somebody asks me, Anika, are you okay? No, I'm not. It's okay to not be okay. That's true authenticity. Authenticity means saying that you don't know something when you don't. It's okay to tell someone, I may not know, but I'll find the answer, or let's learn together. Authenticity means that you're confident in who you are, what you are, and whose you are. You have to be okay with your walk, because if you're not okay with your walk and your journey, others will see that and they will deflect, they will run, they will hide. So you really need to take the time to build your confidence to be truly authentic. As we evolve on social media and other platforms, I find it's very interesting that authenticity is not common. When you are able to be honest with yourself and others, you're winning. Stop hiding from whatever it is that you don't want others to see, because we're all imperfect. And when people see that you're human, they will attract to you. You hear people talk about manifesting. You hear people talk about law of attraction. It's true. Authenticity is something that children see, animals see, and we get misconstrued as adults because we think that, oh, well, maybe I'm just being paranoid, or maybe, it's not like that, or I don't want people to know this, or I don't want people to know that. You have to live your life being honest and true to yourself and others, because as a leader, it is extremely important that you do not lie, you do not fake, and you do not cheat others. So be authentic. It's easy. We think that wearing a mask is easy, but it's really not. When you are trying to act like you're not in pain, or you're trying to act like you're not suffering, or you're trying to act like things are okay when they're really not, give yourself credit, because every day, every minute, everywhere is not okay. So walk in your authenticity and you will attract others. As I say that, I think about the fact that people say that you are what you attract. And I used to hate that statement. But when you think about it, it's extremely true. Because I remember back in the days in my 20s, I used to always wonder, why are these people coming to me? Why do they think it's okay to present to me that way? Until I finally looked in the mirror and realized there's something about me that's telling them that it's okay. So when you look at other people and you see them walking with their head held high, you may see something that you may not agree with, but it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them being authentic in their journey in that moment at that time. Seasons change and circumstances change. And so you have to make sure that you are not being judgmental to yourself or others, and that you're truly being authentic with who you are. Because the day that you walk in freedom is the day that you walk in abundance. Last but not least, empathy. And when you think about emotional intelligence, many of you guys may not be familiar with the concept, but I chose emotional intelligence to specialize because as an empath, I've always been a unicorn. I always felt that maybe I felt a little bit too much for my clients, that I wanted to do more than I was able to do. I had to learn to surrender to what I can control and what I can't, but it's still okay to be an empath and to be empathic to others. People get confused between empathy and sympathy. Empathy means that you acknowledge someone's feelings and that you're able to feel pain for them. Sympathy means that you feel sorry for someone. Never feel sorry for yourself. That's first. Because when you feel sorry for yourself, you get stuck in a hole called depression. I'm not going to go deeper, but I just want to say empathy means that you are aware of your feelings and the feelings of others. Emotional intelligence is built on awareness. It's built on confidence. It's built on authenticity. Emotional intelligence is growing in the leadership realm because we're learning that leaders, effective leaders, are those that care about their staff, care about their employees, care about their clients. And it's okay to care. Previously, we have been taught to have this shield, this guard, where, do as I say, but as we're evolving as women and as we're evolving as business owners, it is extremely important to understand that it's okay to feel. That's what makes us nurturers. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us real. So give yourself approval to feel. If you are an empath, if you have a calling, if you've been struggling with whether to jump out on faith and do what it is that you feel that you need to do, do it. When you do what is, you will reach success. Success is not monetary. Success is in waking up and loving who you are and what you do. Being able to look back and see how you've helped others grow, whether it's through a product or service. Walking in authenticity, owning your empathic self, acknowledging your natural looks. All of these things are based in confidence. And I think as women, that is the biggest struggle for entrepreneurs and women themselves. We look at our daughters, we look at our nieces, we look at our cousins, we just look at the generations, and we've all struggled with confidence at some point in time. But when you own who you are and you own what has happened to you and you control what you do with it, that is true leadership. We have to show others what it looks like because we don't have people that are out there doing that for us. Growing up in generations past, there were leaders all over the news because they were fighting battles that we didn't think we would have to fight nowadays. We're fighting those battles and much more, just as a parent, just as a woman, for our health, for our wealth, for our legacy. We're fighting every day. When you get up and you know that you are fighting a good fight and you are fighting an authentic fight, when you are standing for whatever it is that you believe in, when you don't apologize for how you feel, when you own who you are, you have reached success, and you are classified as an effective leader. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about myself. I got to the nitty-gritty. I am a military spouse, newlywed. I am not young, so I got married for the second time, older, and it's extremely hard to adjust and adapt. I was previously a single mom for 10 years. I have 3 children. And through the walk of going back to school to get my master's degree, getting remarried, struggling with my chronic health issues, I have a lot of chronic illness, including autoimmune disease. And I wake up every day and I go to physical therapy and I go to pain management. These things have been extremely hard for me because I was disabled for 5 years. I was paralyzed and I couldn't walk. I woke up one day and I knew that my story had to matter. There had to be something about what I was going through that was preparing me for whatever my calling had to be. I used to think that callings were only for ministers. I was a social worker. I was a case manager. I was a mental health therapist. I worked in the prisons. I've always worked with vulnerable populations, but I always saw myself as vulnerable as well. I think that's what gives me an edge to helping people in need, because when you go through things, you know what it feels like to be a loophole or to have a gap between your needs and meeting those needs. You know what it looks like for somebody to be authentic, to really help you. You also know what it's like for somebody to hold things over your head. I use all of these experiences to help me help others to not duplicate those traumatic experiences for myself and others. Think about your journey. Think about what it is that you need to use for your power, because we all go through pain, whether it's physical or emotional. But what we do with it is up to us. And when you decide to walk in your truth and to share your pain for power and to use your education, your experiences, and your life as an example for others, I think it's the best gift in the world. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background, and I wanted to explain how I became an expert or practitioner in emotional intelligence and leadership. And as I walk this walk, I hope that you walk it with me. Be free to be you. Be free to lead. I promise you, if you are authentic, people will follow. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity.